Thinking about I'm thinking about taking all this content that I keep putting up on, like lives and stuff like this, publishing it as a podcast. Um, like taking the audio and just like repurposing so that
Yeah.
it's on YouTube, it's on a podcast. I don't know if I can fit different things in the same podcast. Maybe
I don't know.
conversation with Ken and then little musings about nothing. Like, I don't know, just some variety.
Yeah, dude. I, you know me, I don't understand any of that shit.
Well, it's not like there are any rules, right?
Yeah, there's 1.9 million podcasters out there right now. So I'm guessing whatever you can do to not be one of them is good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I think the idea of creating a big brand around a podcast is just, you missed the boat. If you weren't in the Joe Rogan, Lewis Howes, early guys, if you didn't luck out and get in there.
So the thing about those guys, Andy, is that they had some level of notoriety before they did anything.
They sure did. Yeah, they sure did. Tim Ferriss. Same with Tim Ferriss. He wrote a fucking best-selling book. So yeah. Yep.
Simon Sinek, Joe Rogan, all those guys.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They actually didn't choose to go and do that stuff. They got pulled in there because they had so many people vying for their time that they were like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go and say one thing in one place this many times a week. That's it.
Yeah.
That way, that's how everyone can get access to me. That's it.
Yeah.
But, the guys out there that think I'm gonna go start a podcast and I'm gonna make money doing it. I don't think so.
It's a tough.
Unless there's something incredibly unique about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and then you've saddled yourself with a pretty significant job. It's a very significant, when it comes to write-ups and the notes and doing it in a way that makes it meaningful to other people. Like it's a significant job. Which is why, as I was thinking about this stuff, I was like, I'm not going to repeat what I've done in the past. I'm not going to spend 20 hours a week trying to find guests and put shit up. If I can take a YouTube video or a Zoom meeting and rip out the audio and just put it up without any bumper music, without any introduction, just here it is. You want to listen? Here it is.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah. It
might be
all you're doing.
Fun way to do it.
I think ultimately all you're doing is saying, you've heard about me somewhere. That's why you're here. This is an opportunity for you to get to know the cadence of my thoughts and how I speak and what I think about, to see whether or not you want to do anything with it.
Yeah. Basically,
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Like for me,
and whether that's on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, but that's why it's nice that you can take one thing and repurpose it in 5 ways.
Sure. Based on what we each do for our living, in quotations, you're making content every time you get on with anybody. It's content.
Yeah.
And it's authentic content because you're not thinking about making content.
That's right.
Which is why the beauty of Something About Nothing was born in my head at that moment with you, because I wasn't thinking about making content.
Right.
The fact that anyone would ask me about making content makes my gut turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't fucking want to do it. So I don't. Like the joy of what I do is like when a call is over,
Yeah.
I can get up from my seat or walk away from my desk and it's over. And I can immediately start regenerating my brain.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting when as you're talking about it, you know, one of the things that my brain immediately goes into is, well, I need the income and you don't at, you know, at this point in your life. And so I can't act like Ken because um I there's a dialogue. I'm not saying this is right. I'm not saying
Right.
that any of this is like will support me, but it's I want the context running in my mind of I don't need any of this. I want it and I can let it go at any moment and not really give a shit. And I don't have that. I have a
Right.
constant inner dialogue of I need this. I want this for my family. I want, you know, like it's I I can't afford to just shut it down, you know, and not publicize what I do, you know, in some way. I don't know that that helps, but that's what's running.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna explain to you, hopefully, uh, that you're wrong.
Good. That's fucking great news. I mean, the only reason I bring it up is because I haven't. I think I am wrong, and yet it has. It's like I've swallowed the hook. I can't. It's not just in my cheek. It's all the way down in my gullet, and you know, like I don't know how to remove it.
Yeah. Well, let's start with some factual stuff. Your family income or household income is something of which you don't really need to be stressed about making money for the.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. I mean, between our income is enough.
Yeah. So let's put.
It's not enough. It's not enough in my head, but it is factually enough.
So the reason why you feel this pull to have to make money is an ego thing.
Yes.
You're
100%.
saying like, I got to do my own thing and pull my own weight. But I mean, my guess is, Andy, you do that in so many other ways that are not financial that are way more important than the financial, just as a thought. The second thing is, you mentioned like, you can't do that. You can't do what Ken does because you're not in the same financial position. Ken doesn't need the money. I've never, except for one period of my entire career, ever focused on money, Andy, ever. And the one time that I did focus on it for a period of almost 10 years, I got completely sideways.
Yeah.
And the minute I changed that, all of a sudden, and I got back to like doing stuff with the belief of returning value to, or giving immense value to others, money started happening again.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, Ken. I mean, as I revisit my past around money, because I'm reading this book. Fuck is it? It's called the Overcoming Under Earning. Is that backwards for you? Can you see?
No, that's good. Yeah.
And I'm looking back over my, you know, my life. I had this very interesting philosophy when I left the Marine Corps. I decided that I was retiring essentially, and I was going to live my life from that moment forward for the next 10 to 20 years in retirement. meaning I was going to enjoy the youngness of my body, and I was going to enjoy the things that people typically wait until they're 70 to enjoy. And I wasn't going to worry about money. I wasn't going to worry about, any of the things that my friends were all focused on. And it was fantastic. I mean, it was fantastic. The money never, like, perhaps unlike you, the money never came. I didn't suddenly have windfalls. I didn't meet, I don't know, I didn't meet the right people. Maybe I did meet the right people, but that context never presented itself. I created some amazing things as a result of that philosophy. But I never, what I'm considering now is, by not ever focusing on money, perhaps it never manifested. I never set a financial goal for myself. I never paid myself, like my coaches most of the time made more than I did. And I didn't have not most of the time, all the time. I mean, the whole life challenge, Michael and I used to joke, you're like, this is not making us rich. This is making our developers rich. Our developers were the head dogs in our company, because they never wanted a percentage of the company. They just wanted to get paid. So it never, that method hasn't resulted in the kind of financial prosperity that I feel like I want, because I want to relieve my wife of feeling like she has to be the head dog in that area.
Do you think she feels that way?
Yeah. What I think she feels is there are niceties in life that she really loves. Most of it I could give two shits about. Like my car's 8 years old. It's a Ford Escape. I don't need a new car. I mean, I'm annoyed a little bit by the backup camera that every time it comes on, it's upside down. No. But other than that, and I really do like the new fucking Ford Mustang E. I really I was getting my car serviced. I'm like, holy shit, this is a fucking great looking car. I want one of these. Other than that, there are things in life, there are niceties in life that she really likes. And I think that those niceties, I think she would like to experience throughout the next phase of life, whether that is while we continue working or when we retire. And if she doesn't keep doing what she's doing, and my lack of being able to take over for her financial, abundance doesn't come to fruition, then that's not going to happen. So, so I think she feels that pressure.
But I don't know your wife, Andy, but my guess is she takes immense enjoyment from being as powerful in her space as she is.
Yeah.
And I don't see that changing.
Yeah. There's a frenetic pace at which she has to work that is very difficult for her. Like today, she's got back to back meetings until like 7:00 tonight. She's like, I don't even think I have time for a shower today. And some of it is the way she chooses to work. She's incredibly organized, but she's also incredibly she needs to be in charge of everything. She needs to see everything. She handles every part of the reason why she's so good at what she does is because she really, when she's running the thing, nothing gets dropped. Like she's got it, but it's also part of the It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I have clients like that, Andy, that believe that's the only way, or used to believe that was the only way to get
Yeah.
things done.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when they started to realize what their team was capable of, their business grew.
Yeah. No, I've told her that, but you know, like I'm her husband. I can't really,
Yeah,
it's
well,
not, I think that, I don't know if it's true, but I think that, and
yeah.
she hasn't figured that out. But you know, like this is not about her.
No, no,
This is more about me.
right.
Uh,
But what I was trying to say is I don't see her changing her way of being anytime soon.
No, but
Even if
if let's say I sold the whole life challenge for $20 million and suddenly we had $10 million in the bank, um, she wouldn't feel the same sort of have to, you know, have to take another movie, have like I think she would. It's possible that she wouldn't. It's possible that it would.
I think she feels she has to because she has to,
Maybe.
not because of the
Possible.
money side of it.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's just my feeling. And again, I don't know her, so
Yeah, right, right.
what am I to say? But that's
Yeah, but
generally
let's just leave her out of it. I would like to anyway.
right.
Now that you know, like whether she whatever, I would like to anyway, just
Okay,
as a goal independent of her. You know,
right.
like that would feel good as a man, as a, you know, father, husband, whatever. It would feel good to me to do that.
Yes. So let's go back to um, you know, what you had in the past, which was I'm going to live this great life and I'm not going to worry about money, but the money never showed up.
Yep.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Did you build yourself or not build yourself a return function? So you delivered value, but there was never any return expectation on those you delivered value to. You didn't make it easy for them to say, yeah, here you go, man. Like this was awesome.
I mean, I guess that part, um, I don't know. So I mean, you know, like I look back and go, was it not easy enough to pay me? Did I not value my role highly enough and pay myself enough? Did I not cultivate relationships with the right people who, you know, when I see other trainers that are highly successful, they usually have 5 or 6 clients that are the main source of their income because they're high net worth clients and they charge them more. They charge them more sometimes because they go to their homes, sometimes because they just can.
Yep.
I never did
Well,
that. I never,
I think it starts with this, Andy, is that you didn't value your time. And the evidence of that, or the factual component of that, is the fact that your coaches made more than you.
right. Right.
So when you started CrossFit LA, you didn't, in the very, very beginning, were you making money?
No.
Like,
I
when
mean,
you
I was making money as a personal trainer, so that's not really
right,
yes, I was making money. I was making money right out of the gate because I had my private clients. I moved them into the gym, and the
right,
gym, you know, my overhead went up. My overhead went up by like 4 times
sure,
what it had been.
right.
But pretty sure I was
But,
still making money.
but at some point, you lost sight of your time value, your
Yeah.
personal value in that whole equation, and you started shuffling it off to coaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you then took value in the fact that you were able to give careers to coaches.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And you then took value in the fact that you were able to give careers to coaches. And you sat around going, yeah, look at that.
And
Joe's,
I gave
Joe's-
careers to a lot of coaches.
yeah. Joe's over there making 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, $1,000 a year.
If I got
Good
my
job, man.
if I got my 3% of all of those, I wouldn't be in the same bucket. Wouldn't be in the same chat having the
So
same challenges.
I think it's worthwhile analyzing, when did you make that shift? Right? Like your
I
value.
think you know what I think it was actually as we're talking about it. It was when I decided to move from a personal training model to a class model, and
Then you realized you didn't want to do.
I didn't realize it at first. At first, it was like fantastic. I'm like, I don't need to work with people one-on-one. I'm more efficient. I can work with more people. Yes, it's going to be a loss at first, but in terms of income, but it will make up for itself in the bigger picture, the long run. And I always thought, well, I'm building, and it will eventually get there. I think that was the mindset that it'll eventually come. The money will eventually come. I mean, and I've been telling myself that story since 2002,
Yeah.
and I said the same thing with the Whole Life Challenge. The money will come. It'll come. Keep plugging away. Keep reinvesting in the business.
Yeah. Well, now in hindsight that the group class, for those who just opened a gym and started a group class environment, is a flawed model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your model of taking people from personal training, filling up your calendar and going, shit, I need to either be happy with where I'm at, raise my rates, or allow people to work out together and save a little bit of money, is the right model. And
Right.
slowly building that up.
Right.
You should never have had more than 100 clients.
You mean members of the gym?
Right. And they should have been paying the equivalent of what they would have been paying in personal training.
Right.
That's the way that model. That's the way Greg envisioned.
Yeah. No, we had long conversations about that at his gym. It's funny. I don't really remember how he envisioned the junction between individual private training and then classes, because when I came in, it was a dog eat dog. Nope, you were only as good as your last class you taught. There was no camaraderie, really. There was kind of interesting, like at CrossFit Santa Cruz, there was kind of interesting camaraderie and friendships. But if you left for a week and your clients started taking Annie Sakamoto's class or not Dave Lee's class, I don't think he was teaching then, but Eva's class, and they liked it better, you're fucking shit out of luck, when you come back. But he was a big proponent of cutting your teeth on one-on-one clients and giving clients the experience of training one-on-one to get their form set, get their bodies set, like not just jumping into fucking group classes.
Right. And that all stemmed from Greg's early days of, pairing people up and saying, I'm going to give you each a 15% savings on time training.
Right.
I'm going to get a raise because there's two of you in the same hour.
Yep.
Everyone okay with that? Great. Now there's three of you. Now there's four of you. Now there's five.
And then all of a sudden everything gets lost, because suddenly you're teaching a group class. You can't charge, $75 per person for a group class. It just doesn't make sense for people in the world, because the context for a group class is $15, $20.
When it got past 5 people, that's when that happened.
Right.
you, as a good coach, and maybe with an assistant, you could run 5 people and still have them feel like they're getting $75 in value.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I never figured that out. I went from one-on-one, maybe sometimes 2-on-1 to 20 bucks, 20 bucks an hour, 25 bucks an hour class, not 100. Never did 150 bucks for unlimited. I was always like way more expensive than that, like 300 bucks 300 bucks.
Right.
But yeah, right.
I mean,
that's when it happened. That's when it happened. I stopped thinking about money. I stopped respecting money. I stopped thinking about the money going into my bank account.
You stopped running a business and you started running a co-op.
Yep. With no food for the owner.
Right. And what began to happen is the community and the coaches started wagging the dog.
Yep.
And it was all, by design, if you really look back on it, right?
Yeah.
How could it have gone any other way?
They couldn't.
Right. So what happened in that situation, Andy, is that you lost your understanding of your value.
Yeah.
And people listened and stopped giving it to you.
Yeah.
And because you stopped taking it. And
I think I have a tendency anyway. Well, I think we all have a tendency anyway of, it's the way I hid from the imposter syndrome monster.
Sure.
that was nipping at my heels anyway. Like I suddenly had an out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not really the guy anyway. So here's my community. My community is the thing, and it's not me. And I had an easy out.
I remember a day, Andy, I was in front of class. It was 6 a.m. And I asked the class, because we always did a question of the day. I said, what do you love most about my gym? I worded it specifically like that for a reason. And everyone, 90% of them came back with community.
Yeah.
And then it finally ended, there's like 30 people in the group, came back to me, and I said, well, what the fuck am I doing here then?
It's a great question. It's a fucking great question.
Right? And they were all like, no, coach, no. Like if it weren't for you, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah. No, you don't have to go back on what you said. I get it. And that's when I started signing out. I was like,
right.
Like I need to give this to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the ability not to take that personally.
Yeah, right. I think now I'm seeing that I never, it just fed into the story that I'm not enough. Mm-hmm. And here's the confirmation and the community. But I also felt good in that I was doing something for the community at the same time. So
well, you created the community.
Say again.
I created, we created our communities.
Right.
Like we were it. And then at some point it did this.
Right. Right.
And then you were an asshole.
Right.
Or at least that's what you told yourself. And
yeah,
it's a weird moment. And it's not one that, honestly, Andy, that I ever overcame in the end.
Yeah.
Like there was probably 3 to 4 years where I was like, get me out of this. Like, I don't even want to offer anybody any value around my gym anymore because they don't appreciate it.
That was, it's funny, Ken, I've never really talked about this, but that was how I felt the last 3 years, like 2012, 2013, 14 and 15.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, I didn't show up for cleanups or setups for parties, or I didn't show up for anything. Like I just showed up to the event. Say again.
I didn't show up for the parties.
I did show up for the parties. I did show up for the parties, but yeah, no, I couldn't get out of there any faster.
Yeah.
And then there was such a relief once it was sold that I could be part of the community if I wanted to.
But you did.
I did kind of, but not really. I showed up and I was training at the gym, but I was not going to classes. And while I did go to class, and it took me a couple of years to like phase out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was such a habit, such ingrained habit.
Yeah. So if you look at all that stuff, Andy, and you realize that the moment that whole process began is when you stopped taking the lion's share or paying yourself accordingly. That's when it happened.
Right.
And honestly, man, like to this day, I still, with any client, I will spend a considerable amount of time upfront getting to know them, allowing them to get to know me, and giving them everything I got for free.
Yeah.
And then it comes to the time where they ask, okay, I'm in, like, how do we work together? And I say, well, here's how I generally work. You're gonna feel like I'm a partner of your business. I'm gonna really dig in. I'm gonna be a co-CEO with you, co-founder, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna help get you through all, do all these things. Okay, well, how much does it cost? I'm like, well, that's up to you. I don't want to be a drain on your cash flow. That's first and foremost. And what you need to do is look at your finances and figure out what you can afford. Now that you know me a little bit, you understand my value, and you tell me what it is. You want to know what happens every time?
You get overpaid?
Two things happen. One, they pay me more than I would have asked.
Right.
And two, if they come back with some really low number, it's either higher or too low.
Yeah, right.
Then I know that their business is probably not ready. And I go through a whole process of like asking them why that number and how does it relate to your income of the business, blah, 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 blah. And, sometimes I'll take on someone that is at a lower number. If it's the right person, because I think I can get them through that really quick.
Well, what if you don't think that? What if
I don't work with them?
What do you tell them?
That I don't think that we're a good fit.
Yeah, that's an interesting way. I really like that. I don't know how that would work with one-on-one with people. I don't know that there's a context for.
Well, I mean, all my stuff is one-on-one.
No, I know, but your focus is on business. Like when I look at this, you're a line item in the business, and as opposed to a line item in somebody's personal bank account.
Right. Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Um, I don't know how you would apply it to the one-on-one life side of things. But hell, the funny part about all this, Andy, is that I feel like most of my time is spent with people on their life issues, less on the business.
Yeah,
Because
right.
if you don't clear those away and get through some of that shit, their business is not going to survive anyway.
100%.
So,
Yep.
like, I spent an hour with someone yesterday on their feelings of guilt.
Yep.
I'm like, I love these conversations. And he's like, I can't believe we're having this conversation. This is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, yeah, it is. It's really interesting. I mean, it's like being a personal trainer and having these deep emotional,
Mhm.
conversations with people. It's not necessarily what they signed up for.
I used to have a client, well, I still do. He's a good friend, uh, C-level guy in a big corporation, and we worked one-on-one together for quite a while in the gym. And I would say 50% of the time we never made it to the weights.
Hmm.
He'd sit on the couch
Yep.
and he's like, I need to, I need to talk. And it was the best part of our training together, as far as he was concerned.
I had two clients like that. It was back in the day when I was doing all my endurance work. So most of the time we would just go on runs together. And there wasn't a lot of thinking about what we were doing other than we're just going for a run, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And then on days where life was really rough, we just go have coffee. We just go to Pete's or Starbucks or
That's a great coach, I think.
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
uh, you know, I don't, just like something about nothing, I don't show up with an agenda. I listen and then I take it down a path that I think is most valuable.
I just had a client. I've got a client right now who has been on a 2-month hiatus, 3-month hiatus from coaching, and he's a person who I've known for a long time, but I've always felt that he is 1 or 2 steps removed from really allowing himself to be coached. He shows up at the last second, he leaves at the last minute. He doesn't really say much. This is when he was a member of my gym. Not many people knew him because he was there a lot, but that's it. Um, and that's been kind of my experience of him with coaching is, not all in. I've told him that the value he gets out of the coaching is directly related to his willingness to show up. Like he's got to set the agenda. He's got to, and in coming back together, we've been Marco Poloing each other back and forth. And he just left me along Marco Polo and described kind of what he says he's looking, he doesn't want to fall into the trap of coming to a coaching session and feeling like he doesn't have time to be here, which is, I think, kind of how he operates in a lot of the stuff he's doing for himself. It's all scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really doesn't have time to be doing this, but he's doing it anyway because he knows he should, in a way. And he's like, I really like, our coaching going forward to focus on leadership. And I got the sense that he wants to be taught how to be a leader. Like he wants me to come with an agenda. He wants me to be the guide. And I haven't really, it's not really how I do it.
Yeah.
So I've got to really think about how to if there's a way to parlay his this is a waste, almost like my mindset that this is a waste of my time, or this is not valuable enough for my time. Yeah, I don't know. This just happened last night, so I haven't really thought a lot about it.
It's interesting. I want to be helped on the concept of leadership. And then but I want you to do all the work.
It's right. Teach me leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I mean, you could definitely teach him. I have no doubt or question about that. And I think what it boils down to is you helping him get over his uncomfortableness of being the first word.
Being the what?
The first word. Like if he's the type of guy that used to come into the gym and not say very much, but he was there often.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't say much.
Right.
There's something there that he's uncomfortable being the first word. Like he doesn't want to set the topic. He doesn't want to, he's not going to go and walk across the room and go, "Hey, how's it going?"
Right.
Like, that guy.
He's got a passive mindset.
Yeah. And he's an entrepreneur. He's got a business, or
he's got a business. He's got about 15 employees, architecture firm. He's been pretty successful. He's done a lot of stuff. He's in the ending part of his career. He's over 60.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, I guess what I would say to him is like, you are a leader.
Right.
You've done these things. Let's look back for a minute. Let's look upon your achievements, and let's look at your failures, and then let's map out a plan for where do you go now? How do you use all that stuff? Like it almost feels like he's stuck between his vision of the future and where he currently is.
Yeah, well, it makes me wonder what he thinks is missing.
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't say he needed to be taught leadership if he didn't feel like something was missing.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder
what's missing.
What's missing? How is he not showing up as a leader, or how does he perceive himself as not a leader? And maybe that informs the coaching.
Yeah, to me, there's always some element of imposter. So looking back at achievements can help that. It's like, here are all the things that you've accomplished.
Yeah.
Like the guy I was telling you about that we 50% of the time never make it past the couch.
Yep.
Huge imposter syndrome. And it wasn't until I said that to him and we analyzed what that really meant, he didn't know why he felt that way. And he was like, I constantly feel like I'm looking over my shoulder, wondering when they're going to figure out I'm not good enough for this job.
Right.
So, there's probably an element of that, and maybe just an element of living in the gap, right, between where what you've gained over your career and what's out there, the unknown of the future. And
right.
if he's always looking towards the future, he'll be very stuck because that's unknown and you don't know how to, you don't know what to do to get there. That's why he's probably come to you.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that
Fuck, I think you should pay me for this session.
Check's in the mail, buddy.
Yeah, we're all a little bit like what he's talking about, I think. And you've experienced all that. You just need to look back on it and help him out.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, I just brought up because it just came up in the conversation, and it was on my mind because I just listened to his Marco Polo this morning. So I hadn't yet. I hadn't yet really thought through it. So it helps to spitball it with you.
Yeah. It's why we do what we do. Like,
right.
I would never want you to think that you couldn't help him.
Right.
You're not out of your scope.
Right. Right. No, I don't think that. It's just a matter of how do I frame this so that it's almost like in My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I think it was in that movie, when the women are having a conversation and they're trying to get something done. And one of the women's like, well, let's just tell the men we're going to do it this way. And one of the other women's like, no, that'll never work. We've got to set this up so that the men think it's their idea. And so it almost feels to me like I need to find a way to make him feel like he's getting what he wants, but I'm delivering what he really needs. Like there may be some middle ground where I may not need to come up with a big leadership agenda or a big training program for him, but I could deliver. I need to give him the perception that maybe I am, or maybe there are certain elements that I'm bringing so that I can actually deliver what he truly needs.
Yeah.
We used to say that in CrossFit, give them what they want, but teach them what they need. You can't, if you leave out giving them what they want, they'll leave. They always leave. So you've got to deliver on what somebody wants, but you also have to look at the way they move and are like, yeah, but they don't even see what they don't even see what I see and what they really need. And I know they really don't want to stretch. They don't want to stretch their calves, but I got to weave that in.
Yeah. I think the fact that he's had a successful business and career and staff and doing things tells you already that he's has elements of a leader. And I think what's happened for him is that he's allowed so many other things to come in, and he's so cerebral, like he's in his own head all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cloudy in there.
Yep.
And you need to help him point out where he's been successful as a leader in the past.
Yeah.
And then just encourage him to do, focus more on those things.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I think there's probably a little bit more than that, but that's a good start.
Yeah. Well, there's always start somewhere. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Oh, right.
That's the beauty of these conversations. Like, you just don't know.
I mean, you could almost say that coaching is something about nothing.
100%.
That's really what it is,
Yeah.
Giving yourself the permission to have a time on your calendar to just be,
Mm-hmm.
and to have conversations about whatever fucking comes up. And
you want to get that surface, right? What's the thing that's fucking driving you crazy on the surface?
Yep.
And if you don't shine the light on it intensely, they will bring it up, and you will get a valuable conversation out of it.
Well, and then I mean, that leads to what's underneath.
Right.
But you can't skip what's on top, because what's on top is the ship is sinking. If you got no ship, you got nothing underneath to address because you're fucking gonna die. So yeah,
Cool, man.
it's good shit, man. I gotta jam. I'm sure you do too. Well, you probably don't. It's your Friday. It's your day to do whatever you
Yeah.
want.
I got this, and then I'm gonna take the dog for a walk, and
Hop on that treadmill. Do a 10 miler.
I did a 20-minute high intensity run the other day, and I'm still paying for it.
High intensity in quotes, or was it really high intensity?
For me, it was high intensity.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. It's all that
It
matters.
was like averaged what is it? So 7 miles an hour. So that's what,
What-
or something,
Like
what-
8-minute miles, 8:30s.
it felt like it.
It's
Yeah.
like 8:30 minute, 8 minutes and 30-second miles.
I don't know if that thing is in miles an hour, to be honest. Like not 8 on it. I don't know what that means.
That's
was
probably
running at
miles an hour. That's probably miles an hour.
So I do remember it looked like minute per mile was less than that, but whatever. That was my average, and I was.
If you were at 7 miles an hour, it's over 8-minute miles, 8.5-minute miles. If you're at 8 miles an hour, well, you can figure it out. It's not that hard.
What it says it on there when you're running.
Yeah, no, it always annoyed me that treadmills usually are set up as the default in miles per hour because no runner thinks in miles per hour. They think in how many minutes per mile am I running?
Yeah, but it tells you that. It tells you how many minutes per mile on there. What you're.
A lot of them don't. They're a pain in the ass. Some of them do.
Anyway, so that was good for me, but I'm still paying the price. I'm my knees are sore, my hips are sore, like not in a good way. So
I just turned one of my clients on to a book called The 1 Minute Workout, which is by a guy who is the exercise physiologist at McMaster University.
oh
And
yeah,
he's done a lot of stuff. It's a little clickbaity, the title, because it's not really the 1 minute workout.
okay.
It's about using intervals and using intensity to maximize the efficiency of your workouts. And everybody who thinks they don't have time, you got 5 minutes, you got time.
So really quick before we run, my wife was doing 100 burpees a day for like until she got to like 10,000 or something.
I do not recommend.
Anyway,
I do not.
she was doing it with a friend. The friend did it for the entire year.
Jesus.
100 a day for 365 days. She's still doing it. She's done the year, but she keeps doing it. That's all she did. And every time it was always under 10 minutes. She is jacked.
Wow. Right.
10 minutes. Burpees. That's it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just see that as there's so many imbalances that can get set up when so for most people, that's not the greatest idea.
Yep.
If you're not incorporating any pulling motions like it, and who knows what the long-term effect of that will be, like a year from now, 2 years from now.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, right. You're right. I think your point is that under 10 minutes a day, you can do a lot of fucking great shit. I do yoga. It's not under 10 minutes a day, but I do 20 to 30 minutes of yoga every day. And I've been doing it now for 5 months. And the differences are, well, it's hard to see in stretching. It's not the same kind of results you see in doing 100 burpees a day, but I notice significant differences, significant changes.
I hear the word yoga and think I gotta go.
The Peloton app is $12.99 a month.
Yeah.
You can't get a better deal. And
well, yeah, it's all included in our Peloton stuff. That's Peloton.
Oh, that's a Pelo treadmill?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well then you already got it.
Yeah, and then
So it's free.
My bike set up on Peloton too.
Oh, nice. But the bike doesn't, because it's your own bike, it doesn't give you the intensities, right? It doesn't tell you how, it doesn't hook into the,
No.
right.
But that's okay. I know how to ride a bike.
You do know how to ride a bike.
I'll be okay.
And
Hi, bud.
have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Yeah.